Thank you. Well, good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Board of Education Policy Meeting. Today is Thursday, February 13th, 5:02 p.m. And tonight we have a lot of good information also. And I will have, if I can't even speak tonight. Wow. So anyway, with me this evening, I have Mary Ellen Flaherty Ludwig, Ralph Valenzizi, and Rob Pennington this evening with us. And next on the agenda is the approval of minutes. I know, Mary Ellen, was there any changes, concerns, updates?
Yes, most of it was good, but on the last page, the last paragraph, there were three misspellings for challenging, academic, and eligible. They're just a mistype.
Okay,
I'm sure.
thank you. So with those three changes, motion to approve the minutes?
Second.
Okay, thank you. Next item on the agenda is public comments. Do we have anyone online? I did not receive any emails for public comments. Thank you. And then this evening, we're going to discuss the 5013 and the 5013A policy and regulation, homeless children and youth, and also the 6010 policy, equitable identification of gifted and talented students. Now I will introduce Ralph Valenzizi to start us off this evening.
Thank you, Chairman Carfio, and good evening, everybody. So excited to have everybody here tonight. It is actually a pretty quick agenda for the evening. We have two policies, well, really one regulation and one policy that we're going to go over. I'm going to talk about first our homeless children and youth policy and regulation. The reason I'm bringing this up to the board is because we actually have our policy in place. So we're not making any changes to the policy, but what we hadn't done is actually posted the regulation. So I wanted to make sure, just like anything else, even though that doesn't need an approval with any regulation, we always bring it up as like an FYI, so you're aware that it's being posted. So I just want to take a moment and share a couple of highlights about our homeless policy. Please just let me know if you can probably see my screen right now.
Yes.
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 Okay, great. So we have a homeless children and youth policy. This is actually the person that oversees this process is our deputy superintendent, Sandra Fayos. And the homeless policy basically allows us to be able to really support a lot of our families that have housing insecurity in place. So, and that's really what our policy has always stated. What we've never posted that wasn't posted is the actual regulations that talk about, basically what are the definitions around what it means to be homeless. Our homeless liaison is actually, as it's listed here, our deputy superintendent. What she is responsible for doing and helping students get enrolled as well as giving them services. So she does this on a regular basis through her department. It also just talks about the fact that we do enroll our students that are homeless, the supports that we're able to give our students, helping them with school selection and the process for that. And then if there's any resolutions that have to happen on whether or not they are homeless, that goes to Sandra and she manages all this. So once again, this is a process that we've had in place. Nothing's really changed with our services. It's just that this regulation that you're seeing right now that's a little bit more specific around what we do, how we do it, has never been posted before. So so we're going to make sure that we get this up onto the website, and I wanted you to be aware of that. As just more of an FYI. But I did talk to Ms. Fayos, and I had a couple of different things that I wanted to share with you so that you know what this actually some of the things that have happened over the last couple of years. And when we talk about grant funding, we our deputy superintendent put in for a grant, and we received this year. One example of a grant is we are getting $50,000 for this year, next year, and the following year, each year, to be able to help and support our homeless families. So this is one of our title through the title programs. Jay Gerlach helps to manage that. But these funds go to help with parents that are in in a transition process. So if they need food, so helping to stock a food pantry for them. Transportation, if they're in temporary housing, are things that it helps, and as well as whether they're in a transition, things like if they needed to stay at a hotel or something like that. We've been able to support parents in all those different ways, and I know you can reach out to Ms. Fayos. She can give you more details on that. But I just wanted you to be aware that we are posting the regulation. And we've actually, once again, I think one of the highlights of this is that we do seek grant funding at different times to be able to help support our kids outside of our own budget. And this is one other example of how that's done, where they've received a $150,000 grant. Doesn't seem like a lot, but it goes a long way to be able to help these families.
Thank you. Mary Ellen, any questions?
I do have a couple questions. I know the answer it would absolutely fluctuate, but do we have a rough idea? Do we have like 100 kids or 50 kids, or what kind of population are we trying to reach out to here?
Currently, I'm not sure, but I will check with Sandra to be able to kind of get an answer for you on how many families we actually have or students that would be considered homeless at the moment.
My second question is, it's always key to be able to get in touch with the parents. A range of things happen. Child could get sick or injured or something like that. And what strategy do you use when the children actually don't have a home? How do you is it
Are they a ward of the state, or do we have access to the family somewhere? Like,
is it just a cell phone? Is
Mhm.
that the idea? Just a cell phone, not a.
In most cases, there's usually and Rob, feel free to kind of chime in too, as being a building level principal in the past. There usually is always a contact. There is someone that actually we can reach out to for that child, even though they may be categorized as homeless.
I see. Okay, thank you for explaining that.
Sure.
It's when I was reading this earlier, I was thinking to myself that we don't every day, we should be thankful for what we have, and the thought that there are homeless children out there and that we're responsible for educating them. And it's not just education. It's, making sure that they're in a safe environment, a roof over their head, and food too. So I'm glad that we are looking this over and adding the regulation.
Yeah, once again, we followed this regulation. It's just that it was literally just not posted.
Not
yet.
printed and
So,
posted, correct?
yes, exactly. So, great. Thank you. And with that, I will move on to our next agenda item, which I'm going to turn over to Mr. Pennington to talk a little bit about a slight modification to our gifted and talented program. So, Rob, give me just 1 second to share this out for you. And the floor is yours.
Thanks, Mr. Valenzizi. So, yes, we've had this equitable identification for gifted and talented. This has been a policy. I do think the one switch, Ralph, if you can just scroll down, I don't know if it's highlighted or right, that I think one of the biggest adjustments, and this is based on the state guidance, is that it is this idea of planning and placement team, which is something that we have in special education, is different in terms of gifted and talented. So like, it's not having a parent or guardian at that PPT or that team is not a requirement like in special education. So many of our schools, they have a team that will come together that will be looking at multiple measures around identification. They will have conversations. So it could have the administrator, the teacher, gifted and talented teacher, gifted and talented administrator, where they will look at multiple measures, different assessments, different feedback pieces. So we just wanted to make sure that that was adjusted.
And Rob, if I can just help with some clarification, maybe
Perfect.
for some parents, is the piece of gifted and talented actually falls under the category of specialized learning. So once again, that the referral to like what you would normally see as a PPT process, that term is also used for gifted and talented. And I think there was just some criteria that we wanted to kind of make a little more explicit in our policy that it's not that traditional PPT meeting where you would normally have to have a parent at the meeting.
So Ralph, just to expand that, does that mean that there actually is not a individualized student plan, and so that there's not a document that is written? It's just the child is entered into a class or classes that are gifted. Is that the difference?
That is correct. There is
So
not a plan. There is not a plan.
There's no IEP, and so then
correct.
there's no legal document, and you're saying a parent is not required. So in a legal document, you'd have to have a parent, but also it sounds like if a parent wanted to participate or share ideas, that would not be that would be okay.
There are times where parents will ask or appeal the process, and so then the team would come back together. So like if a child is not identified, a parent could then appeal, and the team would have a conversation, and we would then send out a ruling on the appeal.
Okay, so that's good to have. The parent would have a say, or actually have an opportunity to be observant of what the process actually is, not just hearing about it, if they so choose.
Correct.
Now, this would be a good number of students that would go through this process as they're moving forward through the district, correct?
Usually this main process would happen in third grade, and then they would be looked at again. They can be looked at again anytime from 4th to 8th.
Is that across Connecticut? It's third grade identification, or is that just here?
No, that's here.
I know Stanford does that also.
Yeah.
But it is, I mean, it's a similar, Ralph, do you want to scroll down? It goes through the different pieces, and we have, like I said, this group assessment that we give everyone the assessment in third grade. We use the Naglieri assessment, and then there's different pieces that go through. But that we just wanted to make sure, because, like I said, the language is very similar, but there are some differences, and we just wanted to make sure that that piece was included as we go through. But other than that, it's a similar policy that we've had in place in our district.
Rob,
Actually,
just a question about the standardized test. Is that Naglieri, you said, is that an IQ test, or is that just a general test? What kind of test is that?
So it's a nonverbal assessment. that we give to students in third grade. And so then it gives us another data point, especially because we give NWEA in third grade. So that's another assessment that
Right.
we use. But the Naglieri does bring in because it's a nonverbal assessment, it can bring in other students who wouldn't necessarily qualify just from giving a traditional NWEA assessment. And so it gives us more data to look at when we're talking about supporting students, because there are different, types of giftedness. It's not just,
Exactly.
I'm not just,
Exactly.
it's not that I'm just gifted in reading or I'm gifted in math. There are other types of giftedness. And so this allows us to provide more opportunities to more students.
Yeah, it's a great idea.
All right.
So what we're getting here is just stating that the parents do not have to be present.
It's just that's,
And
I
that
think,
wasn't
the big.
clear before, or that wasn't stated before.
Well, I think that it's the policy is very, like, we just don't want people to be confused on the process, because our process is very, like, we have these meetings every year in third grade, and then we do have opportunities again, and it's not like a one and done piece. There are other opportunities, like in fourth and fifth grade, sixth grade, where a parent could request the opportunity, or a teacher could say, I really think that this student, can we take a look? And so we can go back to the drawing board as a team, as a PP team, and look at a student again.
Awesome.
All right.
Great.
We are good. So that we do have to move forward.
Yes.
Okay. So if no other questions, motion to move that one change on policy of equitable identification of gifted and talented students to the full board.
So moved.
Thank you, Mary Ellen, seconded by me. So that is unanimous. And thank you, everyone, for this evening. I know that we have another meeting later, so we have another long night. And thank you, everybody, for your time. We'll see you later.
Bye-bye.
Bye.